The story of the snake is a masterpiece of deconstruction. It is an evolutionary narrative not of loss, but of liberation for nearly 150 million years. This extraordinary lineage of vertebrates has pushed the absolute boundaries of the tetrapod body plan, proving that complexity is not always the answer, and that legs are often just in the way. By shedding the legs, shoulders, and hips that define almost every other land-dwelling creature, the snake didn't become disabled. It became unburdened. It discovered a radical new way of being, a streamlined form so perfectly adapted to its environment that it has conquered nearly every habitat on Earth, from the deep oceans to the high canopies of the rainforest and the burning heart of the world's harshest deserts. They are a lineage that found its greatest strength in the absolute purity of a single, flowing, and deadly line. To find the origin of the snake, we must journey back to the mid-Jurassic period, approximately 160 to 170 million years ago, a time when massive sauropods dominated the global landscape. Into humid, tangled undergrowth, a group of small, burrowing lizards was navigating a dangerous and crowded world. This is where the snake's true secret journey began. These ancestral lizards faced two immense, constant pressures: the relentless need to hide from large, sharp-eyed predators above, and the strategic need to pursue burrowing prey into the tight, subterranean tunnels of the Earth. In this narrow, cramped world, legs were not an asset. They were an obstruction. Natural selection began to relentlessly simplify their bodies. The lineage of the snake began to shrink. Their legs grew smaller, and their bodies elongated, specializing for a life defined by the dark, cramped crevices of the subterranean realm. This process of limb reduction was not a sudden mutation, but a gradual, millions of years-long march toward optimization. Fossil records of early protosnakes, such as Najash rionegrina and the controversial Tetrapodipus, exist with small but fully articulated and functional hind limbs for vast stretches of geological time. These transitional forms used their legs for stability while burrowing, or perhaps during mating rituals, even as their entire skeletal architecture was transforming at a fundamental level. The most radical shift, however, was not in the legs, but in the spine. While a human has only 33 vertebrae, a snake can have over 400, turning their entire body into a rippling, powerful, and articulated muscle. This expanded backbone, combined with a specialized skin structure of interlocking, overlapping scales, allowed them to develop 4 distinct types of movement: serpentine, slithering, accordion style; crunching sidewinding across loose desert sand; and linear, rectilinear crawling that allows them to stalk prey in a straight line with eerie silence. They converted the very act of moving into a quiet, muscular form of hunting. But the physical deconstruction was only half of the genius. As the protosnake lineage eventually emerged from its purely burrowing lifestyle, it needed a completely new set of tools to interact with a sunlit, surface world. Life on the surface was full of opportunity, but it was also full of vicious competition. The snake couldn't rely on speed to chase its prey down over long distances like a wolf or a cheetah. It needed to become the perfect ambush predator. This environmental pressure drove some of the most specialized sensory evolution in the entire animal kingdom. Because they had lost their external ears and tympanic membranes during their subterranean phase, snakes could no longer hear sounds through the air in the conventional sense. Instead, they refined the art of feeling the world with microscopic precision. The snake's entire skull, lower jaw, and specialized belly scales became highly sensitive, capable of detecting the near-microscopic vibrations of a rodent, bird, or even an insect walking on the ground several meters away. They hear with their bodies, interpreting the language of the earth itself. But their greatest sensory tool is their sense of smell, refined into a chemical laboratory on the move. A snake's flickering, forked tongue isn't for taste. It is a high-tech chemical sampler. As the tongue gathers scent molecules from the air, it is pulled back into the mouth and delivered to the Jacobson S organ, or vomeronasal organ, located in the roof of the mouth. This organ analyzes the complex chemical signature, allowing the snake to process information with a complexity, depth, and speed that rivals the human sense of sight. This sensory refinement reached its apex 66 million years ago, a crucial turning point in Earth's history, when the Chicxulub asteroid struck and the Nunnavian dinosaurs starved many snakes like their small mammal and avian dinosaur cousins survived by burrowing deep or living in freshwater systems that were less immediately affected by the collapse of the atmosphere. When the sun finally broke through the soot-choked clouds, millions of years later, the snakes found a new, open world full of an emerging, diverse class of prey. Small, warm-blooded mammals. They capitalized on this new food source with another staggering evolutionary breakthrough: the kinetic skull. To swallow prey much larger than their own head, the snake's jaw is not a single, fused bone like our own. It is a flexible, interlocking system of independent ligaments and multiple hinged bones that can unhinge and expand outward. This allowed them to become one of the few predators capable of consuming a truly massive meal, sometimes half their own body weight in a single sitting, and then going weeks or even months without eating again. A massive metabolic advantage in a post-apocalyptic world. This specialization continued, pushing different snake lineages to the absolute edge of what was biologically possible. In the new tropical jungles that grew over the ruins of the Cretaceous, the pythons and boas took physical deconstruction to its limit. They repurposed vestigial organs near their eyes into complex, heat-sensing facial pits. Agobing temptosi, the thermal signature of warm-blooded mammals in absolute pitch-black darkness. A natural thermal imaging technology we are still trying to duplicate. Others turned from physical might to chemical warfare. In the arid regions of the world, a new innovation emerged: venom. Evolution began to repurpose digestive enzymes in their saliva, transforming them into a sophisticated cocktail of neurotoxic and hemotoxic agents that could instantly paralyze prey or begin digesting tissue from the inside out. The vipers and elapids, armed with specialized fangs that act as hypodermic needles, turned a simple bite into a fatal calculation. The composition of this venom is often a localized evolutionary arms race, as snakes like the inland taipan develop a venom specific to the local rodent population, leading to some of the most complex, rapidly evolving toxins in the natural world. The final phase of this 150 million year journey was the refinement of camouflage and specific ambush techniques. Many vipers developed crypses so perfect that they disappear completely against the leaf litter, while the gaboon viper evolved markings that break up its form like dappled sunlight, hiding its 5-foot body in plain sight. In South America, some boas developed a green-on-green pattern that mimics the light filtering through the leaves, allowing them to hang silently from vines for days. They learned to control their own physiology, sometimes lowering their metabolism to near-zero states while waiting for months for the single, perfect strike. They turned the patient art of waiting into a highly optimized biological weapon. Today, there are nearly 4,000 species of snakes, and they are a global evolutionary success story. They have thrived for millions of years after the great extinction that killed the mighty dinosaurs. We often look at them with primal, hardwired fear, a genetic memory from our own ancestors who lived in their shadow, but we should look at them with awe. They are a testament to the power of simplification, a creature that discarded its limbs, not because they were broken, but because they didn't need them to rule their specialized niches. A snake is not a broken lizard, just as a macaw is not a failure because it cannot roar. A snake is a perfectly designed machine where every articulated muscle, every heat-sensing scale, every chemical sampling sense, and every kinetic bone has been refined for 150 million years. They are the definition of an evolutionary success story. A creature that found its greatest strength by discarding the unnecessary and embracing the perfect purity of a single, flowing, and silent line.